Hello, 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 hello. This is okay, and I'm coloring today a little panel from Wendy Wonka, Chapter 2, Issue 5. We're drawing a girl who's like an ice cream girl. She's melting and feels very appropriate because it's summer, and I guess summer's just starting, but it's hot. I've got my air conditioner on over there. You might be able to hear it, but yeah, it's pretty hot out here. So the little tutorial today is just the process I'm using to color her. I thought I'd show it real quick. So this is an unusual thing to be coloring. Lots of ripples, lots of like melting layers. So I thought I'd go ahead and show you my process for doing this. I'm going to go ahead and lay down the darks first. You can kind of see this is a pretty good example all around of what I'm going to be doing. You can see the darkness back here to help with the scale value for the darkness and the brightness has really been darkened for the background to kind of help make it pop. You can see I'm using very dark values. I don't go up much higher than this base color back there. And this is also kind of a yellowish base. I'll use my eyedropper tool to show you. You can see here it's a very light tan, kind of a yellowish tan. And then I'm using a blue for the like shading, and that's going to kind of give it a little dynamic feel. Also, kind of make it help make it feel cool. And it's just kind of that extra pop of color whenever you mix like a cool shadow and a bright, like warm highlight. And I will go back and I'll add something like a very bright yellow for the highlight. I'm not going to use pure white. I've never used pure white in my previous panels for this, just because I like the warmth that the yellow light really adds to it. All right, so we're going in here. We're gonna just go ahead and start by coloring in some of this background ice cream that's under her arm or behind her arm. All right, I'm gonna rotate this just a little bit because that makes it easier for my strokes. And I'm going to kind of pull from there. I'm not using the smudge tool, but this is pretty much what I'm doing. What you could use a smudge tool to just kind of pull it over, or you could just be a real artist and use the brush. Here we go. I joke when I say real artist. I mean like digital artist, you know. Traditional artist would just use a paintbrush. Digital artists who are very familiar with Photoshop and everything, you might use a smudge tool because you know that works also. Okay, so we want to do a little bit of rippling around the cherry, and I'm going to go ahead and continue this. I'm not done with this section right here, but I'm going to come back to it in a little bit. Everything's going to be kind of dark, kind of like this, but just a little bit brighter. I'm going to leave some kind of almost base color showing, and we'll use whites, you know, that white light on the figure to help make her really pop into the foreground. And then we're going to come on top and do, you know, like dripping milk, kind of ice cream is turning into milk. I don't know, cream is going to be dripping down from the ceiling, and that'll help give it like that extra layer of realism and foreground. In the comics industry, the artists always say you want something in your foreground, your middle ground, and your background in the panels. That is something I learned a long time ago, and I think it's like that Matrix thing where he's like, I can show you the door, but you have to walk through it. And it's like one of those things you know you have to do, but you just it even though you know you're supposed to do it, it takes a while to learn how to do it, implement it into your art. And always trying to do that more, and I think I've been doing that more successfully lately. Only took me 10 years. But I am very proud of the art in this issue. I think the art in this issue is even better than the last issue. I think it's very strong, and those sketch request contests that I'm doing really help me improve by just practicing more. And when you can do sketches, you get through stuff a lot faster. My least favorite thing in the process is the inking, because the inking I feel like takes more than a third of the time. There's 3 processes: the penciling and layouts, and then there's the inking, and then there's the coloring, which I'm doing now. And inking is probably my least favorite because it just feels like it takes forever. It goes so slow. And my hands hurt after I've been doing it, because you have to work 8 hours a day on being very precise with your inking. And I don't know, I think a lot of artists are a little bit looser than I am, and I would love to be looser. It's just something I've got to really train at. I think I'm more of a cartoonist, illustrator kind of style, and it's just hard for me to run and sprint through it instead of just jogging, I guess is the metaphor you would use. But I love a lot of the artists who ink, and it feels very sketchy. Their inking does, and yet they're able to get very precise at the same time. But that very fresh kind of feeling. All right. So I'm going to come back to this part right now, and it does help kind of push this arm into the foreground when all this is dark. But I'm going to come with a very, this mid-gray, mid-blue, and I'm just going to pull from it and do just a little bit of line work back here so it doesn't feel flat. You get a little bit of sense that there's layering going on, there's rippling, but also it doesn't get too prominent. It's kind of blurred in the sense that it's dark and you'll have a very limited range value. That's how you would describe it, a limited range value back there. I guess we're working with 2 colors that are almost opposite. So what color scheme is that? Is that it's not monochromatic. What is that? I'm having a brain aneurysm right now. What is that called? Brain fart. Oh well. But you can see here, I'm just kind of trying to outline, strengthen the line work that's already there. Again, I ink my own comics. I was saying that's my least favorite process in the 3 stages. I was right. I'll have to share Twitter. I was afraid to share a picture I took of how I wrote this story until it actually comes out and people have a chance to judge it first. But I took a picture of me sitting on my hammock outside by the pool, writing the Wendy Wonka 2.5 script, being like, this is where I wrote the script for my comic, like by the pool. But that was a very special day. Like 99% of my time is spent in a chair behind my computer screen. And why I love, being able to write my own stories is because I like writing stories, and I get to, kind of take a break when I'm writing. I get to do something different, keeps it fresh, keeps me from, becoming burnt out, which is very easy to do. It's very easy to get burnt out when you're doing something like I've been doing it for 10 years now, maybe more than that. Like the same thing behind a computer screen without interactions with like coworkers, really. Like that's hard. If you didn't love what you're doing, it would be hard to do something on your own, for more than 10 years. I do miss like having interactions with coworkers, and but I think everybody misses that right now because of the pandemic. Everybody's kind of getting back to normal life. All right, get back to a small brush there. All right, so I've strengthened all the ink lines, and now I can kind of come back and go with, I'll go kind of like with a lower opacity. I've lowered the opacity down to 70% on my brush, and that just means it's not gonna come out full strength when I push down on it. It's gonna be a little bit, and I'm really easing on the brush here, because you can do that with a Wacom tablet. It's very sensitive to touch, how hard you push down, just like traditional media with a pencil. If you push down harder, it's darker. Same kind of thing going on here. Okay, I want to kind of form these two lumps right here. I guess she needs an exam. All right, we sort of modeled these a little bit to where there's some dimension to them without, making it too modeled. It's easy to do too much. Trying to run through it, also trying to make it look good. Okay. We're almost there. Are we there yet? All right, now we're going to go with the white yellow. This is kind of like a bright highlight. And try to keep talking so you don't hear that air conditioner too much. But I can't turn it off, or else I get way too uncomfortable too fast. Okay, I think it's like 90 degrees outside today. I feel like this is a self-portrait sometimes. Oh, I messed up there. This brush I'm using is by far my favorite brush ever. It's very painterly. It's like a paintbrush. I love it for coloring. Okay, so when we're modeling with this highlight, we want to think of this like a real sphere. And how would you shade a sphere? This area right here is probably going to be the brightest. So I'm going to kind of go over this a little bit more. I forgot my opacity is at 70% still. So I can always come back again and really strengthen it. If I go on the first time, if I only go through one time, it's not going to achieve that intense white light value, like the 100%. It's at 70. Okay. All right, I'm going to do just a little bit of highlights on her arm, up the center of it. This kind of reminds me of the Sanderson stepsisters issue, was it 6 or 7, where Meg comes up from the swamp. She looks like Swamp Thing. That's what this reminds me of. I was thinking about Sanderson stepsisters the other day. All right, so I'm only going to do a little bit of highlights down here on the melted cream pot kind of stuff, because I don't want to distract too much from her, but I also kind of want to lead into the other panel. So I'm going to kind of help the eye travel over to the other panel in the direction I want it to go with these highlights. All right. And there you go. Come in with a few drops, a few splatters to help remind us that stuff is dripping. All right, there you go. Now we need to come in on a new layer. Oh shoot, I forgot to duplicate the layer, my flat colors layer. But if you ever do that, something you can do is save this as an alternate file. So let's say I save this as page 6. Save it as page 6B. Open up page 6 and then just pull that layer over here. You can set copy, paste in place, and it should just pull that whole thing into your file like it was. That's happened to me a few times. Believe it or not, I don't always have my head on straight. Okay. Definitely not today. Okay, so we want to do like directional lines, and we want them to kind of I'm motioning with my hands and you can't see my hands. So we want them to kind of be like perspective lines, you know, we're radiating out from, I guess, right here in the center. We want all this dripping to be kind of like interesting camera angle, and so we're gonna just kind of be going down like this. And one thing I was thinking about doing was changing up my brushes, but I think that might be a little too distracting. I probably will add in some like speckle brushes for some like dots and stuff, but I don't know if I'll do. It might take away the idea that it's falling. It might feel like splatter instead of falling. I might do some splatter like right above, like on top of this, this. So here's our. We're gonna try this. We'll see how it looks. hear that pencil hitting. I guess it's my pen. Like smack, smack. Tap, 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 tap. Double tap. All right. So there we go. It's I'm not sure I like it, but it does help kind of add to the chaos, feeling of chaos there. Who is that Agents of Chaos? Or is that Inspector Gadget that fights chaos? I'm trying to remember. I'm not a big Inspector Gadget expert. All right. So we're going to go with like a bluish gray. Maybe a phthalo blue. Now she's inside of like an ice cream vat that you would, get your ice cream scoops out of. And I'm going to use another brush. Let's go with the 435 brush. And you can always grab my brush set from my DeviantArt gallery. If you search OK brush set, it should come up. It was a good thing I had that, saved that, and uploaded it to DeviantArt too, because when my computer crashed, I lost it. But I could pull it back up through DeviantArt. Okay, so I'm going to go back and unselect that. I'm going to take like a mid-range color there, and I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. And I'm going to make that line a little less rigid. It's not going to feel like it's like harsh. I guess that's the good word for it. It's not harsh anymore. Kind of adding a little bit of like steam, I guess. There we go. And that panel is colored, except for the cherries, but is colored. Yeah. All right. We could come in here and just for fun, show you some extra little tidbits. Little bits. Rick and Morty shout out. Little bits. Okay. We get purple. Oh, that's a little too purple. What is the difference between violet and purple? We're going to go with a violet. I think violet is like a softer purple. And purple is more purple. Okay, that's a little harsh. I'll use the hue thing to Okay, so now we're going to use the brush and kind of ease off this purple. Ease off, man. Alright. It's coming in a little too strong, a little too hot. Okay, now she's got kind of like a purple vignette. And that's got to be a Russian word. Niet. Purple vignette, and she is colored. All right, so this comic is once again Wendy, Wonka, the Chocolate Fetish Factory, issue 5 in the second chapter. Today's date is May 29th. I'm going to try to have this out available for pre-order tomorrow, May 30th, 2021. To look for the year. That's not good. I need to be taken to the hospital. I didn't know what year it was. Okay, so it is May 29th, 2021. Tomorrow is May 30th. And I'm going to try to have it pre-order ready by May 30th. But I've been announcing May 31st just to be safe. Give me that extra little, couple hours of work to catch up on, because things have been a little crazy around here lately. A lot of people have been dying, and it's hard to get through life when that happens. So, yes, it's been a good time coloring here. You can enjoy Wendy Wonka Chapter 2, Issue 5, pre-order starting on May 31st, 2021. Check out my DeviantArt, my Twitter at it is okay, and follow the link in the description below for those, and I will see you next time.